everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Hollyoaks James Nightingale and Stay Hay are set to reunite amid a devastating illness. The married couple recently split following Stee's infidelity with Rex, with Stee issued divorce papers by his husband. Recent scenes saw Stee try to win James back, with James suffering a shock collapse during a divorce party, before asking his estranged husband to give him space. Stee later turned up with flowers only to find his husband in a moment of passion with Jeremy. James admitted to Jeremy he didn't know how to tell Stee about his brain tumor, and was pushing his husband away because he found it too difficult to face the truth. However, he changed his will to leave everything to Stay, Leah, and Lucas. In follow-on scenes set to air during next week's Big Stunt episodes, James prepares to head to his hospital appointment. However, he is confronted by Stee at the flat, before James reveals to his estranged husband that he thinks he has a brain tumor, admitting he is afraid of death. Stee says he is devastated that he didn't reveal the truth to him, and later on James tells Leah and Lucas that he and Stee are now back together for good. Next week's Big Stunt episodes will see a huge showdown for Warren and Dave, a kablooey, while a big motorbike accident will also occur as Abe Fielding announces a shock death. It comes before Hollyoaks airs a one-year time jump later this month, as the soap cuts down the number of episodes per week alongside a number of cast exits. James Nightingale had always prided himself on being unshakable. His icy demeanor, his cutting wit, they were his shields against the world. But as he stood in the middle of the dog in the pond, nursing a glass of whiskey he barely tasted, the cracks in his armor were beginning to show. Across the room, Stay Hay was laughing. That laugh, so genuine, so warm, cut through James like a knife. Stee was surrounded by a group of friends, his smile lighting up the dimly lit pub like a beacon. James's heart ached. It had been months since their relationship had imploded in a storm of mistrust and harsh words. Months since James had watched Stay walk out of his life, vowing never to look back. But James had never stopped looking back, not for a moment. The familiar voice of his sister Marnie broke through his thoughts. "If you stare any harder, darling, you'll bore a hole through him." She slid onto the bar stool beside him, her perfectly manicured fingers curling around a glass of Chardonnay. James scowled. "Don't you have someone else to bother?" Marnie raised an eyebrow. "As your sister, it's my solemn duty to meddle. You're clearly still in love with him, James. Why did you just go over there and talk to him?" James's lips pressed into a thin line. "It's not that simple." "Of course it is," Marnie said breezily. "You walk over, open your mouth, and speak. Unless you prefer to continue wallowing in self-pity?" Before James could retort, his phone buzzed on the bar. He glanced at the screen and froze. The message was from Stee. "Can we talk? Meet me outside." James's heart leaped into his throat. He glanced across the room, but Stee was already heading for the door. Without a word to Marnie, he slipped off his stool and followed. The cool night air hit James as he stepped outside. Stee was leaning against the wall, his arms crossed, his expression unreadable. For a moment, neither of them spoke. "You wanted to talk," James finally said, his voice colder than he intended. Stee's eyes met his, and James was startled by the vulnerability he saw there. "Yeah, I do. Look, I know things ended bad between us. Real bad." But he hesitated, rubbing the back of his neck. "I need you to hear me out." James folded his arms. "Go on." Stee took a deep breath. "I've been sick." The words hung in the air, heavy and ominous. James's heart clenched. "Sick?" "I've got cancer," Stee said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I found out a couple of weeks ago." James felt the ground shift beneath him. For a moment, he couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. He had faced countless challenges in his life. But this was something else entirely. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" James finally managed, his voice shaking. Because I didn't think you care, Steve admitted. Not after everything that happened between us. But I didn't know who else to turn to. James stepped closer, his icy facade crumbling. Of course I care, Sete. You're everything to me. Steve's eyes filled with tears. I don't know what's gonna happen, James. The doctors say I've got a good chance, but I'm scared. And all I could think about was you. How you always make me feel like I can face anything. James reached out, his hand trembling as he cupped Steve's face. You're not facing this alone, not anymore. Steve leaned into his touch, his tears spilling over. For a long moment, they just stood there, holding onto each other like lifelines. The days that followed were a whirlwind. Steve began chemotherapy, and James threw himself into supporting him with a determination that surprised even himself. He attended every appointment, held Steve's hand through every treatment, and stayed up late researching ways to make things easier for him. Despite the grim circumstances, their time together rekindled something that had been missing for far too long. They laughed, they argued, they shared quiet moments that spoke louder than words. Slowly but surely, they began to rebuild what they had lost. One evening, as they sat on the couch in James's flat, Steve looked over at him with a faint smile. You're really here for the long haul, aren't you? James arched an eyebrow. Did you ever doubt it? Maybe a little, Steve admitted, but I'm glad I was wrong. James reached for Steve's hand, intertwining their fingers. I'm not going anywhere, stay, not now, not ever. Tears welled in Steve's eyes, but this time, they were tears of gratitude. I don't deserve you, you know that. James gave a soft laugh. We're both far from perfect, but that's what makes us work. And besides, he added with a smirk, you'd be lost without me. Steve chuckled, shaking his head. Yeah, I probably would. As the weeks turned into months, Steve's treatment began to show positive results. The tumor shrank, and the doctors were cautiously optimistic. Through it all, James remained steadfast, his love for Steve growing stronger with each passing day. One sunny afternoon, they found themselves walking through the village. Steve's energy was finally starting to return, and he insisted on stopping by the dog for a drink. As they entered, the familiar buzz of chatter and laughter filled the air. Marnie, ever the observant one, greeted them with a knowing smile. Well, don't you two look disgustingly happy? Steve laughed, leaning into James's side. Can you blame us? James rolled his eyes but couldn't hide his smile. Don't start, Marnie. As they sat down, surrounded by friends and family, James realized how much had changed. Their journey had been far from easy, but it had brought them closer than ever before. They had faced the darkness together and come out the other side stronger, more united. And as James looked at Steve, his heart swelling with love and pride, he knew one thing for certain. No matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our Hollyoaks Update YouTube channel for more update news.